Hello and greetings from Brize Norton. I'm standing at the moment outside the perimeter fence of RAF Brize Norton, which is between the village of Brize Norton and the town of Carterton, 14 miles west of Oxford. You can see some large buildings and a large hangar behind me. And the reason why I'm standing here today is that I've really been inspired over the weekend by watching some documentaries on RAF Brize Norton. They were produced in 2012. They were called Inside RAF Brize Norton. I think there's 7 programs produced at the height of the war when we were involved with Afghanistan. And they are inspiring documentaries of all the wonderful work that was taking place and is still taking place inside RAF Brize Norton. And what I want to suggest today with my title, A Community at War, is that the sort of character that has been produced in the Army, in the Navy, in the Air Force, is the sort of character that we all need today as we're facing this coronavirus. The Prime Minister of India yesterday said we are at war with the coronavirus. So the challenge is, how can we be a community which cares for one another, loves one another, and continues to do that more and more, and also be at war with the coronavirus. And I think the RAF have a lot to teach us. So I would really encourage you to watch that documentary, Inside RAF Brize Norton. And I was so impressed by the caring, the courage, the commitment, the kindness, all these words beginning with C and K, which you can see there. Encouraging news today to see that millions more packs of PPE, that's personal protective equipment, being sent out all over the country and being organised by the military, I believe, in large part. 170 million items, I think it was said. 20,000 people rejoining the NHS. 750,000 volunteers from across the country helping in local ways. That's in addition to our parish councils like we have in Brize Norton, or our town council in Carterton, or our coronavirus groups which are helping people. And do contact all of those and get involved as you think is fit, of course. Also so inspiring to hear today how these collaborations are taking place. That's another word beginning with a C, between organisations like the Royal Mint making face masks, I believe, Imperial College, and the Mercedes Formula One team making CPAP machines, those machines that help you to breathe before you have to go on a ventilator. And of course, all those other firms around the country, in this country and elsewhere, making ventilators. That's also so encouraging. So as we go into this next phase, this next week of lockdown, and it's a stunning and alarming statistic in a way, but we've got to remain level-headed and sensible about it, that a quarter of the world now may be in lockdown. That's possibly 3 billion people. And all these things are happening all over the country. Marvellous to hear that these emergency hospitals, sort of field hospitals that would be built by the military normally, are being built all around our country. I believe in London, Birmingham, Manchester, Cardiff, and in Glasgow. Extraordinary. If I get any details wrong, by the way, please forgive me. I'm trying to be as accurate as I possibly can. And it's so marvellous to see how those people in the emergency services, whether it's the firemen, the police, the ambulance, the military, whether it's the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, are all working together, and their expertise is being sent into our communities. The government said yesterday that we needed these new coordination centres, these strategic coordination centres, where we needed people with the gifts of those sorts of people who are in the military to pull us all together and help us fight this war against the virus. So, as I say, I'm standing outside RAF Brize Norton, which was built, I believe, in about between 1935 and 1937. Then it became a British base, I believe, in the Second World War. Then it was there for the Americans between, I think, 1952 and 1964. Now it's our largest RAF base in the country. And of course, in 2018, the RAF celebrated their 100th anniversary. And of course, it was founded in 1918 on the 1st of April, which is Wednesday this week, the combination of the Royal Flight Corps and the Royal Naval Air Force. And as I was reflecting on all these things, they all come down to character. We all are surrounded now by situations that demand character from us. We may need strategic coordination and precision, but all of us need character, that determination, that stickability, that ability to keep going. And we also find ourselves at that point in the Christian year, the 2 weeks leading up to Easter, where Jesus and his disciples were on the way to Jerusalem. And you may not have thought about it before, but he needed tremendous determination and stickability, because according to the Bible, he was at war with evil, and he was determined to come into the world to defeat evil. And his march towards Jerusalem, where he strengthened, we remember that earlier in his ministry he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights in the time of Lent, but he's strengthening himself all the time to take on evil. And we believe that in some extraordinary way on the cross he defeated and blew apart the power of evil. It's rather like the climax, the end of one of those amazing science fiction films where the enemy spaceship, I'm trying to think which one I'm referring to, but I remember seeing one where the fighter pilot finally got inside the enemy spaceship, and he got inside it and he had to blow up the enemy spaceship from the inside. He lost his life in the process, but as a result of that, the power of that evil regime was broken. And Christians believe that there's an evil regime that we're fighting, and that power was broken fundamentally by Jesus on the cross. And we have the opportunity to follow Jesus and come in under that power and that protection to fight the evil around us. The New Testament is then the story of the community in the 21 letters, or epistles as they're called, after the Gospels, which are the lives of Jesus in the New Testament. We have the story of that early Christian community learning the sort of character that is needed to keep going, the stickability to keep on fighting that war on evil, and learning to live together and supporting one another and loving one another. So I do encourage you to reflect on all these things. Now, in the last few days, poems have become increasingly popular, and I want to read you one of my favourite poems by Rudyard Kipling called If. I think it was written, we reckon, around 1895 and published probably in about 1910. And Rudyard Kipling was that journalist, that short story writer, that poet and so on, who wrote the Jungle Book, among other things, but had an amazing ability to put things into words. And I love this poem because it's all about the determination and that stickability to keep going no matter what happens, whether things go well or whether things go badly. We are going to fight on, and we are going to win, and we are going to prevail. Just want to say before I read this poem that at the time this was written, the word man and men was used of mankind, humanity. And the climax of this poem is that if we want to be truly human, we've got to have this stickability, this resilience, and this commitment to keep going. So as I read it, if you're a lady and you hear the word man, or the last line, you'll be a man if you do all these things, it means you'll fully be a human being. So in the light of that, I'm going to read this poem. Rudyard Kipling, who lived between 1865 and 1936. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. So that's a poem about being fully human. You'll be a man, but you're being a fulfilled human being. Now, it's my tradition now to sing a song which isn't in copyright and yet has something to say. So one of the songs of the Christian tradition, written in 1862 by a vicar, by a parish priest, was "Fight the Good Fight." He took three verses from the Bible: "Fight the good fight, lay hold on life," "Run the straight race," which was a reference to the games in the ancient world, very topical today because, of course, we've just heard that the Tokyo Games have been officially rescheduled today to 2021. About casting care aside, that's another, and leading on our guide, trusting God who really wants to help us all, and fainting and fearing not giving way to fear, but seeking to trust other people and seeking to trust God. So this is the famous hymn, "Fight the Good Fight," and I hope you find it helpful. Fight the good fight with all thy might. Christ is thy strength and Christ thy right. Lay hold on life and it shall be thy joy and crown eternally. Run the straight race through God's good grace. Lift up your eyes and seek his face. Life with its path before thee lies. Christ is the way and Christ the prize. Cast care aside, lean on thy guide. His boundless mercy will provide. Lean and thy trusting soul shall prove. Christ is thy life and Christ thy love. Faint not nor fear, his arm is near. He changeth not, and thou art dear. Only believe, and thou shalt see that Christ is all and all to thee. Now, we normally finish with a prayer, and I suggest that we say the Lord's Prayer as usual in any language or in any version we know. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And there's that very important line, deliver us from evil. Deliver us from this coronavirus. Just want to say at the end that I just want to remind myself and remind all of you, let's be people who contact all those local authorities and organisations where we can lend a hand, or maybe lend a hand to someone else, whether it's our local coronavirus group or our parish council or our town council. We've also got web pages for our two churches, St John's Church Carterton and Friends of St Brize Norton, and you can join those as well if you think they're any help to you. But anyway, take care, stay safe, and God bless. Bye-bye.